Welcome to episode 39 of My Views Extended. I'm your host, Nadia. Thank you for tuning in this week. To any new listeners out there, thank you for checking out My Views Extended. If you have listened before, thank you so much for coming back. You can listen to My Views Extended at nadiadanella.com, or you can listen on YouTube where closed captioning is available. The YouTube channel name is Nadia Danella. That's Nadiadonella. You can also keep up with me on Facebook, Instagram, Pinterest, and Twitter. And if you have any questions, you can email me at myviewsextended@gmail.com, and I will get back to you as soon as possible. I will leave links to all social media sites in the show notes. Apparently, having restricted firearms is on the increase in Canada, and this is definitely not good news. On average, the increase of firearms on restricted firearms is 9.5%, which has doubled in the last decade. And these numbers are from Canada's Commissioner of Firearms in 2015. This number includes semi-automatic rifles and handguns. Of course, that is the average from all the provinces across the country. I'll just read a few of those numbers. In Newfoundland and Labrador, the increase is 11%. In Quebec, it's 7.7%. In Saskatchewan, it's 6.9%. And in Nunavut, it is 11.5%. So, and I think one of the lowest ones was Manitoba at 3.4%. In Canada, under the subsection 84(1) of the Criminal Code, firearms come under three categories, and those are non-restricted firearms, which typically includes shotguns and rifles, restricted firearms, predominantly handguns, and prohibited, which means you're not allowed to have them at all, includes handguns and fully automatic firearms. All restricted and prohibited firearms in Canada must be registered. However, before a firearm can be registered for the first time, it must be verified, and verification is a process of confirming the identification and a class of a firearm by a certified verifier. I just don't know why people, in general, why most of the population needs to be armed. I don't think that they need to be. Unless you're in law enforcement, there is no need for you to carry around a weapon of any kind. And when you're in law enforcement, when your workday is complete, you leave the firearm at the station. Why are you taking it home? Another group the small group that I think it's okay for them to have them are hunters. When you go out on your hunting trip, the firearm is with you. You use it. When you come home, it gets locked up. If you own cattle, for example, and you have to protect your land from, we'll just say, coyotes that may be after your livestock, or you live up in the mountains, whether you're by yourself or you're with your family, and you have a lot of bears or mountain lions, cougars, and something that could get into your home or harm you if you're out at nighttime in those really remote country-ish, mountainish areas. I can understand, those scenarios. But for regular people in the cities and suburbs, what do you need it for? This isn't Texas. If someone comes into your home and you shoot them dead, you're going to prison. End of story. I will leave, if you're interested to learn more about firearms and weapons and what we are allowed to have in our possession in Canada and the restrictions in Canada, I'll leave the link to the Justice Laws website in the show notes. What do you think of the increase in illegal firearms or even legal firearms in Canada? Do you feel that it's necessary, or do you feel that there's a rise in the increase in firearms because people have the mentality of, well, if they have one, I'm going to have one, or even the other mentality of, if the police are not going to protect me if you live in a rougher area or a more crime-ridden area, if the police won't protect me, I need to protect myself. Maybe that might be one of the mentalities. I have no idea. What do you think about that? I personally am not a big person. I'm not a fan of firearms, unless I will say this: if I ended up living in the country or in the mountains or someplace really remote, and there's a large population of cougars or bears or coyotes or something like that, mountain lions, whatever you want to call them, if there's things like that, I may keep one. I keep a rifle. I'm assuming that's the rifle. I might keep one, but that's talking about me without children having children, that's a different thing altogether for me personally. I know I grew up in a house without guns. I know at one point my stepdad had brought a rifle into the house, and my mom was like, oh no, not with my children. There's going to be no guns in this house. And literally in less than 24 hours, the gun had come in and the gun was gone, and that was it. So I don't know. At this point in time, I don't think there's any need for me to have a firearm. In the future, who knows? Scientists are closer to identifying the biomarker associated with fetal alcohol spectrum disorder, formerly known as fetal alcohol syndrome. The DNA breakthrough is in FASD, fetal alcohol syndrome disorder. The definition by WebMD: fetal alcohol syndrome disorder is a group of signs and symptoms that appear together and indicate a certain condition. In the case of FASD, the signs and symptoms are birth defects that result from a woman's use of alcohol during her pregnancy. Among their symptoms, children with FASD may grow less quickly than other children, have facial abnormalities, and have problems with their central nervous system, including mental retardation. The study, which was led by the University of British Columbia, analyzed the DNA from 110 children with the fetal alcohol spectrum disorder across Canada. Researchers are closely to uncovering a biomarker associated with fetal alcohol syndrome disorder after identifying distinct patterns associated with the DNA of children who are exposed to alcohol in utero. The biomarker, which would make a laboratory test possible for diagnosing the order, according to Professor Elodie Portalis-Casimir of the University of British Columbia. The findings are a first step in understanding the underlying mechanisms that alcohol exposure has on brain development. The research team found that methylation, a process that affects how genes behave, differed for children who have fetal alcohol spectrum disorder. Michael Kabor, a professor of medical genetics at the University of British Columbia, likened methylation to a dimmer for a light bulb, regulating its activity to control how bright or active a gene is. Currently there is no cure for fetal alcohol spectrum disorder, but earlier diagnosis can make the difference in future outcomes of individuals with this disorder when it comes to schooling, therapy, socialization, and healthcare. With that said, the researchers are hoping that with current findings, in the future there could be possible ways to reverse irreparable damage to the nervous system, but that is many years and many more studies away. Bottom line, please don't drink while you're pregnant. If it's a problem, go and speak to your doctor or your OBGYN, your midwife. Tell them your concerns about alcohol, or just say it outright. Take somebody with you if you need a support system. I have a problem. I need help to stop so I don't hurt this unborn child. Don't let shame or embarrassment lead to irreversible damage to your child and your child's future. And I will leave links to those articles in the show notes. For those wild animal lovers out there, the giant panda is no longer on the endangered species list. Now they are just on the vulnerable species list, according to the Chinese government. Giant panda is still on the vulnerable species list because of climate change and the deforestation, which is taking a toll on their main food source of bamboo. And of course, the giant panda is off the list mainly because of the years-long effort between the countries of the conservationists. And let's face it, pandas were on the list. A good portion of them were on the list because they're just lazy. These suckers can barely be bothered to have sex in the first place. I remember seeing, I can't remember if it was a news show or a documentary years ago. They actually had to put on, excuse me if you have children in the room, they actually had to put on panda porn, show other pandas having sex. So they'd be like, oh, yeah, that's what we're supposed to be doing. Some would say that they did it to themselves, but who knows? But they're off the list, so that's a good thing. There are approximately 2,000 giant pandas worldwide. That's including adults and the young ones. Fortunately, as the giant panda comes off the endangered species list, the eastern gorilla now enters the endangered species list. One good and one bad, and I guess that is life. an update from a couple weeks ago. I didn't do a podcast last week, but from a couple weeks, so update on my joint and hair loss issues, sort of. I did finally go to the doctors last week, and some blood tests to rule out any underlying issues were done. Like I think most doctors, if there is something, I will be called. If there is no issue, I will not receive a phone call. But she did say if my hair continues to fall out, I should come back to see her, and the investigation will continue with a possible referral to a dermatologist. And I also had an x-ray because that's kind of my latest issues, joint issues. I had an x-ray on my hands and my wrists, both sides, and again waiting for the results. And I'm also still waiting for her office to call me with an appointment for a carpal tunnel syndrome testing. And I think they call it a pin test, I believe. It's not actually going into your skin, but some kind of metal something, and they poke your skin and electro something, I don't know. Anyways, so yeah, so still waiting for that appointment. And oh yes, my right foot, my right top joint growing bunion is apparently arthritis, and it will continue to get worse, because I guess that's what a bunion is just arthritis, and it will continue to get worse with time. And according to my doctor, once you have arthritis in one place and you have pains and aches and pains everywhere else, it's just, once it's there, it's going to spread everywhere, and that's just part of the aging process. I already have it everywhere. I already have it in my back and in my knees. And yeah, that's just wonderful. And after, actually, because I always remember to write down everything, that all my complaints, so I don't forget everything, and I had it all written down, and I forgot to have her check a mole on my head that has changed shape. I've had the mole probably almost my entire life that I can remember, and it's just changed shape over the last 6 months or so. And yeah, I forgot to ask her about, or at least have her look at that. So I don't know, I guess memory issues are part of the aging process as well. So yeah, I have a lot of thoughts about that, and I will share them later when I get the results of all of those tests. Hopefully good news, or nothing that is life-threatening. And it's just interesting, when I complain about wanting a new body, my sister always asks me if I want to be taken out to pasture and shot, and kind of, some days I'd like to, I don't know, one of these days I might take her up on that offer. I have to say, the physical part of aging really sucks, and I'm actually making an effort to halt it, so that I can age the best that I can. We're supposed to be living longer, and I can only imagine how bad I would feel if I ate and drank to excess, if I smoked like a chimney, if I didn't exercise, and I didn't try to manage my stress and coping skills, methods. Yeah, that's actually terrifying to think how much worse I would feel if I didn't actually make an effort. So yeah, that update is done. This week, I wanted to start from now on, along with what I'm grateful for, start a saying or thought of the week. And I'd picked this out a couple weeks ago, and I still like it, so I'm like, why not still use it? And the saying is, the woman who does not require validation from anyone is the most feared individual on the planet. Mohadessa Najumi. And excuse me if I'm mispronouncing your name. I love this quote because it's true in so many cases, whether it is in business, in friendship, romantic relationships, not all, of course, but many. If you just stick on your trajectory, stick to your goals, whatever they are, just being the most productive and useful you that you can be, keeping your eye on the prize, the analogies could go on and on. You get what I mean? I don't understand. Like, people are almost scared. I don't know if it's scared, feared, instead of thinking, let this person be the best that they can be, because if they are able to succeed in that, they can be the best that they can be, and in turn help those around them, and in turn help the world be the best that the world can be. Why are you scared of that? Everyone being the best that they can be at whatever it is they do benefits us all. What do you think of this quote? The woman who does not require validation from anyone is the most feared individual on the planet. What does it mean to you? This week, I'm grateful that my office/bedroom is in some kind of order. Not exactly how I wanted it to be, but good enough for now. I am looking after a friend's cat for a couple of weeks, so that was definitely the kick in the pants that I needed to get the basics done for now. because you know that cats love to investigate and pick and chew and scratch up and move little things. So yeah, I had to make sure that all that stuff was put away at the best that I can. I know that Kai, my cat, loves it. She's been in my room every day since it's been organized. As a matter of fact, she's taking a nap right now on my bed, and I guess I'll have to take that as a big hint to keep my office slash room that way from now on. I just love it how animals let you know in their own way to get your crap together, and I guess not only your mental crap and physical crap, but your physical space together as well. Interesting how that works. Thank you for tuning in to episode 39 of My Views Extended. I would love to hear feedback and comments of what you think of this podcast and the topics that I've discussed this week. You can listen to My Views Extended at nadiadanelle.com and on YouTube, where you can subscribe, like, rate, and or leave a comment, and where closed captioning is available. And if you enjoyed this podcast, I would love it if you would share it on all of your social media platforms. I will leave links in the show notes, and as more listening platforms are added or changed, I will let you know. Till next time, this is Nadia.